the masses are crying out for someone like Letterman. And we talked about this on the show last week. I think we're sort of seeing with the calls for Oprah to run in 2020, which I think is it's well intentioned but misguided.
Yeah.
I think we need to have, if not necessarily a politician, someone who is well versed in the law.
Yeah.
It's sorry, Oprah. I love you. I would love to look under my seat, and you're getting a rebate. You're getting a tax break. But
the way I see it, Oprah would be smart enough to have someone teach her shit. You know what I mean? Like, because what we've learned in this Trump book, this Fire and Fury book, is that Trump has a staff, but he completely ignores them. They try to tell him, hey, here's this brief, this is what's in the brief, and he doesn't even want to hear it. That's the problem. Somebody like Oprah would at least be like, okay, I don't want to go out there and look stupid. Tell me what this means, and I'll just say it,
Yeah, that's one of the things about Oprah Winfrey. And we were talking about this on the show last week, that, yes, she has built a media empire. And you, with the exception of introducing people like Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil into society, she has done a great job at making people want to be better. Which I think, ultimately is what America is all about, is striving to be better. You mask it in some bullshit saying like, make America great again. All right, that's a load of crap, because you consider the source of, well, whose version of greatness are we talking about? And, pretty much everyone on Trump's side is talking about, going back to the 1950s, when men were men and women were subservient and people of color weren't seen. Unless, you needed to get your shoes shined, your house cleaned, or, whatever other stereotypes that were based in reality. Like, we have evolved beyond that. We have ideally learned lessons from the past. And we shouldn't be moving backwards. Case in point, and, I think this ties into the Women's March, which is going on today. The so-called March for Life that was held in D.C. yesterday. Previously, presidents maybe gave a phone call to speak to the crowds. Right. And I will give Trump props for not actually showing up in person, but I think that's more out of laziness. But they are, the current administration is giving legitimacy to these religious crazies.
He doesn't want to leave his room, apparently.
No, well, and I think the world would be better off if he wouldn't. Now we just need to keep him locked in there and take away the phone, so he can't tweet. Make the world a better place for you and me.
Yeah.
They had the anti-choice march in Washington yesterday, and I don't want to get into the semantics of the term pro-life, but as my best friend, writing partner's father, a rabbi in Little Rock, Arkansas, he was Clinton's rabbi.
Wow.
As he pointed out, speaking at the March for Life was I think it was I don't know if it was Tom Cotton. It was someone from Arkansas government who has, maybe the governor, who has supported the death penalty. They've killed I think 10 convicts under his watch or something. I'm rounding, the facts are out there. The point being, though, these pro-execution people, if they are featured as speakers at your rally, you're not really pro-life.
Yeah, that's always been the irony of that, of the pro-life movement. Now, was this the same march where Trump sent the message saying we need to stop babies from being born in the 9th month. Was that?
Did he say that?
Yeah. I mean, clearly he meant aborted, which is complete bullshit too, but because that does not happen. But they need to stop babies from being born in the 9th month, which I take exception to because I was born in September, so I take.
Well, and one of the other things that a lot of people have been talking about, in terms of Trump's hypocrisy is, that he was always pro-choice until he needed, to run as a Republican. And then it was say whatever you have to get these people on your side. I think it's a little more involved than that, because as part of Trump's physical, as part of his checkup, and this was announced in the lead up to the election as well. But Trump apparently is taking Propecia to prevent male pattern baldness, which
too late.
No one's believing the dipsy do up, that soft serve swirl of cotton candy on top of your head. No one's believing there isn't a big blank patch, both on the scalp and underneath. But one of the side effects of Propecia is male impotence. And despite Michael Wolff's suspicion that Trump is currently having an affair that he brought up on Real Time with Bill Maher last night, and we'll talk more about that as it has to do with the Women's March. But I think it's interesting that, when Trump stopped being able to get boners, abortion wasn't really important,
right.
And I think we see that throughout. This isn't just me like throwing out conspiracy theories, but if you look at everything he's done in the past year, it is done to benefit people like him and him specifically. With the whole tax plan that the Republicans passed, the disaster scam, whatever you want to call it. Sure, it kind of throws a bone to some of the middle class, but it's mostly just a giveaway to corporations and the rich. We know that. You look at the numbers, it's easy to see.
So if Trump can't get boners anymore, but he's having an affair with somebody, I mean,
well, there is Viagra.
Yeah,
I
was just about to say, like, whoever this woman is, she deserves whatever she gets out of this.
Well, and as we've seen with Stormy Daniel, the going rate is $130,000.
Yeah, right. Wow.
But you were saying, and I hadn't heard this, you were saying that allegedly Melania is having an affair as well.
Yeah, I did read that somewhere, that she's having an affair. I mean, this is allegedly having an affair with the head of security at the White House. That's what I read, yeah.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing that Trump manages to screw the entire country, except for the model that he married.
Right.
Makes little to no sense. But, we were talking about this before the show because, again, anyone who listens to the show or knows me, I am not provincial. I'm not aghast at the fact that the president is having an affair. My problem is the hypocrisy. It's the idea that if you are cheating on your wife, even if, this is part of the understanding in your marriage. If your wife is cool with it, fine. But you do not get to tell anyone else about the sanctity of marriage. You do not get to tell anybody else how they should be living their life. If two people of the same gender want to get married, you are cheating on your wife. You don't get to tell them that marriage is a sanctified institution, especially when you're on your third.
Yeah.
And when apparently your definition of family values is banging a porn star who reminds you of your daughter, you do not get to tell anyone else about the sanctity or the veracity of their relationship. You lose that privilege.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you would think they would lose that privilege, but I mean, we've seen this hypocrisy over the decades. I mean, going back to the Clinton thing, and it just seems to just get worse. I mean, even as more information is out there and more of this is being exposed, they seem to still be able to spout this hypocrisy and not be that affected by it.
Yeah, it's stunning. The whole idea of let Trump be Trump, you know, and the fact that these people, and obviously not all of the Trump supporters, but a large number of them, they have the gall to call themselves Christians and continue to preach as if they are coming from a better place, which, if it wasn't plainly evident before that they're not, it sure as hell should be now.
Yeah.
But another thing that you were saying before is, you know, with Trump, the scandals come at such a pace that there is really no time for analysis and condemnation, because he's already on to the next one by the time you're figuring out what he did. I was trying to come up with an apt description for the Trump administration and his role in it. And the closest I could come, which I think really makes sense considering his mental age, is the Dr. Seuss book, The Cat in the Hat. Donald Trump is the cat in the hat. And most of America, at least the thinking folk, we're all the fish. We're trying to tell the kids, this is fucking nuts. Your mom is going to be home soon. This cat is tearing up the house. He's bad news. And
every day he's eating green eggs and ham and, and 12 Diet Cokes.
And telling us that it's good for us. No, none of this is good for us. But fortunately, not Lenny and I, because we are here in the studio right now, but there are hundreds of thousands of people around the country. Crowds. I was watching the news before coming out here to the Radio Titan studio this morning, and they were doing an aerial shot of Pershing Square in downtown Los Angeles, which is where the march is starting. I don't want to push anyone's buttons, but the crowd in just Los Angeles for the Women's March already looked bigger than the inauguration crowds in Washington, D.C. a year ago today or tomorrow, So, we got the numbers.
But what I do hope from the Women's March this year is that, I hope that there will be more intersectionality and also more of a taking of responsibility, because you look at the march here in Los Angeles, it's predominantly white women, and that's fine. Obviously, America's predominantly white, I guess, for now, but at the same time, it was predominantly white women that voted for Trump. So,
right, exactly. Although admittedly, those aren't the women that are going out to march. But and it's with the women of color that we've had on the show, be it, Raja Michael, Kat Alvarado, Michelle March, they have opened my eyes to the understanding that within feminism, there are still color lines. And I've noticed that a lot more recently with the whole Me Too movement. God, I really wish I could remember who it was so I could give them props. And I think it was at the Critics' Choice Awards, one of the recent award ceremonies, where a white woman won the award, and she did call out the importance of reaching out to women of color, because that is still an issue. That it's.
Yeah, because unfortunately, when women of color say, like, well, we also want to talk about racism, and, when trans women say, well, we also want to talk about, trans rights, and, a lot of times they get shouted down, like, no, we're talking about women's rights, set that aside for now. Where it's like, well, we are women, so,
right. And to a point, I can understand the white woman perspective in this situation, because yes, there are a million little struggles building up into the big one. And to say that, we are marching for women's rights in general is not saying that we are not marching for the rights of women of color. But, so there is the perspective that, let's when, let's look at the big war and then like break it down. I can understand that, but I also understand the perspective of women of color and trans